Hello everyone, I hope you all are fine. So today we will start with our next topic of structure of atom. The topic for today's lecture is Rutherford alpha ray scattering experiment. So in this we will discuss how Rutherford performed his experiment and what conclusion he draw with respect to his atomic model. So first of all, what was his experiment? In his experiment, Rutherford he used a alpha ray source from which alpha rays were produced. Alpha rays generally they are produced by heavy metals which are radioactive in nature. So alpha rays they are just like normal light waves or light rays like X-rays, radio waves, microwaves, ultraviolet rays. Similarly are the alpha rays. But normally they are not produced, they are only produced from radioactive substances like uranium. When heated it produces polonium, on heating it produces. Different examples are there. So alpha rays are consisting of helium positive particles and they are positively charged. This thing you keep in mind, alpha rays are always positively charged and they are made up of helium nucleus. Helium having two positive charge. Now one he took alpha ray source and another he took a gold foil. Gold, we know it's a metal which is commonly used for jewelry and ornamental purposes. So gold, from the gold he derived a very thin sheet, just like aluminium foils are there in order to wrap up the lunch items or other food items. Similarly, that very thin paper he made of the gold and he put in the front of alpha ray particles, alpha ray sources. From the alpha ray source, when alpha particles were passed or when they were targeted on the gold foil, what was observed? It was observed that mostly all the rays they passed directly. They passed straight, mostly, without any deviation. They were passing, traveling as such, means nothing was from out of the path, no bending, no reversing back, nothing was there. But few rays were deviating, only few, like suppose 10,000 rays were there. So out of 10,000 rays, 10 rays were deviating, 10 to 20 we can say. And when more rays were passed, what was observed? That out of 10 lakh, only one ray reverted back totally. After striking, it reverted back. Just like when we throw a ball on a wall or on down the floor, what happens? It bounces back. Similarly, when large number of rays were passed, it was observed that out of those 10 lakh rays, only one was getting reverted back. So that was very different behavior. Other rays they were traveling straight, only few were deflecting, but the one it was totally reverting back. So on the basis of this very observations, he concluded that, who concluded? Rutherford, Ernest Rutherford. Now based on all these observations, what he concluded? He concluded that as most of the rays were passing straight without any deviation, so most of the space inside the atom, it is completely free. Nothing is there. Second, as some rays were deviating, like out of 10,000, 10 to 20 rays they were deviating. So that deviation was due to presence of some negatively charged body, and later on it was discovered that those negatively charged particles they are known as electrons, although earlier they were discovered in the form of cathode ray particles. Then third one, what he concluded? He concluded that as one ray was totally retracing its path, so that retracing of the path can only be possible if something is repelling here. So repulsion can occur only, we know, between same charges, between like charges. Positive can repel positive, negative can repel negative. never repulsion occurs between positive and negative or between negative and positive. These two attract each other and these two, they repel each other. So alpha ray particles were positively charged, so something positive was here. So that positive was nucleus. Okay, clear. Now he also proposed that electrons, they are not stationary inside the atom, they are moving. Now after the Rutherford, another scientist was Bohr, full name Niels Bohr. He proposed his theory in the year 1913. What he proposed? He proposed that electrons, they are revolving around the nucleus. They revolve around nucleus. Just like planets, they revolve around the sun. And electrons, they are present in a fixed orbits. Just do the planets, they have fixed orbit, they have fixed path. So sun we know is present in the center, and around the sun different planets they revolve. First one is Mercury, then Venus, then Earth, then Mars, then Jupiter, Saturn, so on. Similarly, in his nuclear model, or in his atomic model, not nuclear model, in his atomic model, he proposed that in the center, nucleus is present, which is positively charged. Around the nucleus, electrons are present. The first shell or the first orbit around the nucleus, that he called K shell, generally, simple name he gave, K. Next one is the another shell that he named as L, further M, and after that N, and so on. What he said? He said that the first one, K, will have a maximum of 2 electrons, L will has a maximum of 8 electrons, M 18, and N 32. In the center only nucleus is present, and inside the nucleus protons and neutrons are present, and outside electrons. K will has maximum of 2 electrons, L can has maximum of 8 electrons, M it is 18, and N 32. So this was with respect to Bohr's model. Okay, now the next one is atomic number. What is atomic number? Atomic number is number of protons or number of electrons present inside any atom. Always remember, protons and electron number inside any atom, it is always same. Protons equals to electrons. So same is the atomic number. And generally atomic number, it is designated or it is denoted by capital Z. Also this one keep in mind. Next one is mass number. What is mass number? It is number of protons or electrons, as we know electrons and protons, they are always equal, plus number of neutrons. So number of protons plus number of neutrons, that is equal to the mass number. It is how it is denoted or designated or represented. It is designated with the help of capital A. So generally if we write any particular nuclide symbol for any particular element, suppose for not for A, suppose I am writing for X. So how I will write? I will write the mass number at the top and atomic number here. Okay, it is written in this very form. Subscript as this one, atomic number, and superscript in the form of mass number. So this one is generally written. Okay, let me write it with the help of one example. Suppose if we write it for carbon. So carbon is having atomic number 6 and mass number 12. So how I will write? I will write mass number at the top and atomic number at the bottom. Subscript, superscript. Clear? So 1 to 20 elements, you have to learn it very carefully, their atomic number and mass number. Now one more term here, number of protons and number of neutrons. It is also known as nucleons. Number of protons plus number of neutrons inside any atom, they are known as nucleons. So if someone wants to calculate the number of electrons, so how he or she will calculate? How number of electrons are calculated? That is directly simple. If you know the atomic number, that is the number of electrons. But if you want to calculate number of neutrons, so how they are calculated? They are calculated by subtracting atomic number from mass number. That is mass number minus atomic number, it is equal to number of neutrons. Like for example, in case of this one carbon, it is 12 minus 6. So 6 is the number of neutrons.